Howard, welcome to the Asia-Scotland Institute, and thank you in particular for being with us this evening at a time when with COVID-19 people attending events and moving around is particularly difficult. The Asia-Scotland Institute, as you will remember, has as its core mission to educate and inspire tomorrow's leaders in Scotland. And that means understanding what's going on internationally, globally, and of course within Asia. So your talk this evening is particularly timely, dealing with important matters that we need to consider.
You're very welcome, and thank you for inviting me tonight. Yes, so I've been working in Southeast Asia for many years, in China, Bangladesh, and India, particularly West Bengal. Mm-hmm. But with regards to the COVID-19 virus, I think one of the interesting observations that we're making is, well, first of all, it could be waterborne. Yes. We know that it can exist in fresh water and seawater. So we have been looking at potential sources from water and wastewater as a primary vector for the initial infection. But it's interesting to note that with the reduction in industrial output, we're seeing huge improvements in both atmospheric quality, air quality, and also river water quality. So I think this actually might have a silver lining in that respect, in that it will show people what the environment could look like.
What I would very much like you to do is speak about and highlight the work that you're doing with regards to water treatment in different parts of Asia.
If we take Dhaka, which is the capital of Bangladesh, 22 million people live in Dhaka, and the primary industry is the textile industry. Yes. About 80% of the economy of Bangladesh is based on textiles. Now, the city of Dhaka, they have managed to destroy 100% of their surface water and at least 90% of their groundwater by the effluent from the textile industry. And taking the textile industry collectively, it's the second biggest polluter on the planet, only second to the petrochemical industry. And in my travels in Dhaka, there are some 500 textile plants. I've been through about 50 of them, and none of the plants had an effective effluent water treatment system. As such, the environment is grossly polluted, and the Chinese are currently building a pipeline from the north of Bangladesh into Dhaka to bring drinking water supplies, because the city runs out of fresh water within the next 2 years. I felt it was a more logical step or solution to look at the industry and to try and develop effluent treatment systems that prevent the pollution. Yes. So as opposed to bringing water in from the north of Bangladesh, they can use their existing water supplies. So 5 years ago, we set about to try and develop a system that could be operated and maintained by the Bangla engineers, and we succeeded in that task. One of the major textile companies just outside Dhaka have been using the system now for 5 years, and we have made the system open source. So we welcome any other organizations to copy what we are doing.
Howard, the other very important part of what you're going to be talking about this evening is your work on the GOES project, the cleaning up of the oceans, in order to prevent climate change. And I wonder if you could talk to us about what the key issues are around the GOES project.
Sure. Most of climate change research has been centered around the anthropogenic production of CO2 from the burning of fossil fuels. But climate change is an equation. What goes into the atmosphere has to come back out of the atmosphere, and nature is the mechanism by which it is always sequestered the CO2. And we have almost completely neglected that side of the equation. Now, the oceans have also been neglected. It's not until 2015 that the United Nations actually considered the oceans important for climate change, whereas they are the most important aspect controlling the climate. And as a marine biologist, we're acutely aware of the importance of the oceans and of the destruction that effluent and pollutants, man-made pollutants, have inflicted on both biodiversity and productivity. And I feel that the oceans actually hold the key for solving climate change. Over the last 60 years, man-made chemicals, toxic forever chemicals such as DDT and PCBs, we believe has destroyed more than 50% of marine productivity. If we hadn't destroyed that 50% of productivity, then we would not have climate change. So it's all about aquatic environmental pollution produced by man impacting on the productivity of the oceans. And as opposed to trying to reduce CO2 emissions, which is almost an impossible task, I think it's a somewhat easier task to prevent aquatic environmental pollution and atmospheric pollution from those most toxic of chemicals as a possible route forward. There are certain marine biologists that are acutely aware of the problem and the issues, primarily centered around the reduction of pH of the oceans. Currently, oceanic pH is 8.06. 50 years ago, it was 8.2. In 25 years from now, it will be 7.9, 7.95. And as a marine biologist, we know that ocean ecosystems cannot survive at that pH. And oceanographic institutes and marine biologists are also aware of this. It's sometimes referred to as climate change evil twin, as ocean acidification. And the timetable is set. Within 25 years, we will be at pH 7.95. And one of the main activities of my company is the construction of the life support systems for many of the world's aquaria. So we know with a high degree of certainty that a pH of 7.95, it's not possible to keep these systems running.
Howard, again, thank you. Thank you for coming this evening, and we look forward very much to hearing what you're going to have to say about limiting the effects of climate change.
I very much look forward to this evening as well.
And I know that people will be extremely interested in the crisis that you're going to talk about and possible solutions that there are for it. So thank you for being with us.
Very welcome.